Lando Norris arrived in Formula 1 in the 2019 season to race for McLaren and quickly established himself as one of the most exciting talents on the grid, with speed and personality that made him a favourite with fans around the world. McLaren CEO Zak Brown took note that he had a great asset on his hands and in May 2021 gave him a contract until the end of 2023, but 9 months later decided it was better to secure his services for longer, and Norris signed a contract to be a McLaren driver until the end of 2025. It was clear that McLaren, one of the most iconic and winningest teams in Formula 1 history, saw in Norris the man capable of leading the Woking-based team back to fighting for victories and championships on the track. That hasn't changed and doesn't look set to change. After all, Norris performs to perfection whenever McLaren gives him a competitive car, as evidenced by his 4 second-place finishes this season, all of them in the last 7 Grand Prix since the team's MCL60 car began to improve significantly. But what looks set to change for Norris is that he might have to start worrying about what happens on the other side of the garage. Let's take a look at it with the grid report, but first we kindly request that you consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Now let's start. In his previous 4 years at McLaren, Norris shared the team with 2 more experienced drivers than himself. His first teammate was Carlos Sainz in 2019 and 2020, and in 2021 came Daniel Ricciardo. The Spaniard outscored him on points both years, narrowly beating Norris in their second season together. Lando was always close in qualifying and race pace, even as a rookie driver. Then, when Ricciardo arrived eager to take over McLaren after leaving Red Bull and having a misstep at Renault, the Australian could never adapt to the team's cars, and Norris crushed him in every way in 2021 and 2022, to the point where Ricciardo would eventually break his contract 1 year early. Ricciardo's failure opened the door at McLaren for fellow Australian Oscar Piastri, an arrival that caused great expectation, as he was a driver who had won it all in the lower categories. If you want to know more about Piastri's story, you can check out the video we made on the grid report about him, which you can find on the channel. So far in 2023, Norris has outperformed Piastri in both qualifying and race pace, which is to be expected, as there are 4 years of experience between the 2 drivers. However, the rookie has been showing glimpses of his talent, especially since the MCL60 became more competitive. At Silverstone, he qualified 3rd just behind Norris and could comfortably have been on the podium at the British Grand Prix, had it not been for an unfortunate safety car that benefited Lewis Hamilton. The following race in Hungary, he again took the 2nd row in qualifying, again 1 position behind his teammate, and on Sunday, he managed a top 5 finish. Before the summer break at the Belgian Grand Prix on Saturday, Piastri came within 11 thousandths of Max Verstappen's pole position in qualifying for the sprint race, and then took 2nd place in the short race behind the dominant Red Bull driver. As if that wasn't enough, he also beat Norris in qualifying for the Grand Prix that weekend. In other words, on a driver's circuit, the rookie had beaten his more experienced teammate. This brings us to last weekend at Suzuka, another of the true drivers' circuits of the Formula 1 World Championship, and there Piastri again beat Norris in qualifying to 2nd place. Then, in the race, perhaps making use of his greater experience, Norris beat him to 2nd place behind the dominant Verstappen, but Piastri took 3rd place and with it, his first Formula 1 podium. It was the best way to cap a weekend in Japan that had begun with the announcement of a new contract for him with McLaren that will tie him to the team until the end of 2026. Most impressive, however, and perhaps what should be of most concern to Norris for the future, is how Piastri received his first F1 podium. There's still a lot to learn and try to improve on, but yeah, I'll enjoy the moment for now, he said immediately after the race, and then added that it probably wasn't my strongest Sunday. It can't come as no surprise how the 22-year-old referred to himself after achieving a result that most drivers in the world can only dream of achieving. Asked what he didn't like about the race, Piastri explained in detail, "I think the tyre management and just pace at certain points of the race were not as strong as I would have liked. The first stint, it felt like everyone was driving extremely slowly, and then when I tried to push a bit more, the tyres didn't really let me go much faster. So a few things to work on there, and yeah, just pace overall in the races." Interestingly enough, speaking about Piastri's new contract at Suzuka on Thursday, McLaren boss Andrea Stella highlighted the Australian's ability to understand his performance and, from there, try to improve. Stella said, "These qualities have to do with being able to continuously improve. I'm sure there were a lot of people that were talented, but it didn't lead anywhere because there was no attitude to continuously improve. Piastri's desire to improve immediately after his Formula 1 podium finish shows what he's made of, and why Norris may soon have to start worrying about his teammate, if that is not already happening. If McLaren continues on the path of moving up the Formula 1 pecking order, and its drivers start competing for wins and podiums on the same level, without team orders, it will be a great asset to the fans. After all, McLaren has been home to some of the greatest teammate duels the sport has seen, the most iconic being that of Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. And let's not forget that season when Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton shared a garage and fought for the Drivers' Championship. Yes, there's still a long way to go, but at the very least, McLaren's reality this season already has its drivers fighting for important positions, and Norris may be increasingly challenged by the other papaya car. And when that happens, it will be wonderful to witness. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to The Grid Report, where we bring you the latest F1 updates.